Hey guys, I'm Dr. Mike Cockrell, and I want to thank you so much for being with me this morning. You may recognize this background because I just finished up another video that I was doing this morning about controlling our mind processes. And while I was sitting here enjoying my coffee and listening to the birds, it made me really think about another subject that I really wanted to take a moment to share with you, and that subject is gratitude. Now, I haven't always been able to live the life that I'm living. I haven't always been able to have the free time that I've had. In fact, it's only been, I'm almost 53 years old, and it's only been the last 3 years that I've actually made a decision to create more free time in my life, because that really had never been something I gave a lot of thought to. Yeah, we'd take a week or two off and go on vacation. We'd go to conferences. We'd do what we did there. But until my grandson was born 3.5 years ago, it never really sunk into my head that I was truly in control of my time, just like I was everything else. And that I stopped and reflected and was looking back on the last 20 years, basically, because my oldest child was 20 at the time that she had my first grandson. And I realized that I had been through a divorce. I had been through a lot of changes in my life. I had been through education, school, and literally had spent at least 15 of those 20 years running and focused on, honestly at that point, I was focused strictly on the goal of getting through medical school and getting through residency and getting started in a career, that I burned through 15 years of my life that was nothing but an absolute blur. I wasn't around for my kids. I wasn't around for my new wife. I wasn't around for anybody because I spent 80 hours a week busting my butt trying to get through medical school, trying to get through, actually in some of my residency, I was working 110 hours a week. It's just nuts. You know, and it was all that struggle to get ahead, to get ahead, to get ahead. And I kept pushing and pushing, and I never really dawned on me that the important things had absolutely nothing to do with that. Yeah, I was doing something that I thought was worthwhile. I was becoming a physician so that I could teach and I could help and I could educate people. And as you see now, I'm still a physician and I love that, but my focus and attention has come sort of full circle. And now I spend more of my time. I still practice medicine, but even in my practice of medicine, I'm trying to integrate more of the processes that are really important, and that is what goes on inside here controls more about what's going on inside here than anything else. And a pill doesn't fix your problem. It typically just covers the crap up, you know. So we can shovel sand over dog crap all day long, but it's still dog crap under there and it still stinks, you know. So what I've learned to do is refocus, and it's a constant daily struggle for me, just like it's going to be for you. But I challenge you, if you really feel like you're in a rut, you're in a rat race, your life is going to hell in a handbasket, you don't know how to get out of this, you don't know what to do next, you need to stop and you need to refocus. You need to really sort through what's your purpose. Once you sort of have an idea of these are the things I really want to be doing with my life, then you need to create a dream that includes all of that and start establishing goals to get there. We've talked about that in the past. But one of the things that's so easy to do, but that most of us don't do, is we need to learn to be grateful for everything in our life. The good, the bad, the ugly. Because each and every one of those experiences that you are having in your life right now is molding you to be something better, to be something different. Because you can't operate on the same thinking patterns that you've operated on for the last decade or 2 or 3 or 4 of your life and expect things to be different the next decade or 2 or 3. You understand what I'm saying? Because the bottom line is, if you keep doing what you've been doing for the last 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting for the last 20 or 30 or 40 years. So if you want to move forward, if you want something different, you have to change. Not your circumstances, not your environment. You have to change. And so one of the key components to learning to change, and this was the lesson that I sort of had dealt to me a few years ago, and it actually took a new baby and my grandson being pulled into my life, and it actually had to do with the loss of another baby in my life, when the loss of my great niece at the time, is it really struck me, man, look at all this stuff. I should be grateful for what I've got. Even though we're in the midst of change and upheaval and all these things, these are the things that actually make me who I am. And so I have learned, excuse me, I have learned to try to spend time every day. And usually when I first wake up in the morning, before I ever get out of the bed, you know, I have a little mantra that I recite about gratitude. And then as I go through the day, I have to refocus, because honestly, I have days, and yesterday, they happen pretty frequently, when it's hard to say, well, what the hell am I grateful for today? This is crap. But I have to stop that, clear that thinking sometimes, and say, okay, but this is sort of crap right here, but look at this. This happened this morning, this happened this morning, I had a wonderful conversation with this person. Those are all great things. And so as soon as I do that, it's like a light switch flips, and my mind goes right back to all the good things that are going on, and the bad things sort of dissolve. And so what I want you to think about today is, I want you to think about, how do you start a practice of gratitude? And it doesn't have to be complicated. Nothing that I'm going to ever teach you has to be complicated, because I am probably the biggest believer on the earth that two things. One, you have to keep it simple. And if you're having to use something to enact change, you want to use the least amount possible to make the effective change. Okay? So what I want you to do is just take a couple of moments, and I would encourage you to write this down, but even if you don't write it down, it's still very effective. And just say to yourself, man, I'm so grateful because of this, 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 and this. 4 or 5 things. If you just do that once or twice a day, you will begin to shift that mindset from, this may sound ugly, but you're going to shift out of that woe is me bullcrap mindset that most of us get into when things aren't going right, and I don't have enough money, and I don't have time, and I don't have this. And that crap will start going away, and you'll start fueling your mind with, there's a bunch of stuff going on around me, but I am thankful, I am grateful, I am happy because I have this in my life. I'm thankful for the home I live in. I'm thankful for the work I'm able to do. I'm thankful for my spouse or my kids. Without those guys, I would not be anything close to who I am today. So every one of us has at least 5 things you can be thankful for every day. And you probably have hundreds of thousands of other things if you really take a moment to do that. But express that gratitude. Express it verbally. Express it in your mind. Every time you think a crappy thought, go back and express it again. And you will be amazed at the change that starts to happen when you actually begin to truly take control of your thought processes, and you steer the ship instead of letting everybody else steer the ship. So, hope this message is helpful. Sorry I bombarded you with basically 2 views in a row, but it's a beautiful view. You can see it still lightening up. The sun's fixing to pop up over these mountains or the trees, and I'm going to be sitting here enjoying coffee and watching it. So, have a great day. Think about the things you're grateful for. I'm grateful today that I'm able to talk to you in video form. I'm grateful that I've got an opportunity to sit here and watch this beautiful sunrise and listen to these beautiful birds. So, have a blessed day, and think about what you're grateful for. Love you guys. Bye-bye.